life is solely based on your decision to make that amount of money. And how much ever money's coming in is fully your decision. Everything that's happening in your life is your decision. But I ask you, as 2026 now is the first official first week of 2026 has started, are you going to decide to make more money? And regardless of all of the things in life, money solves a lot of problems and it allows you to have money to spend. And so if you want to have more money to spend, more money to use in your life, etc., in whichever way you please, you may have to make a different decision as the year is starting. So what we're going to talk about today is that whatever amount of money you want to make, you have to believe that you can make it, and that is the key to making it. Stick around for the entire video so that we can make sure that you get the full idea of the concept that I'm trying to give. I'm going to go ahead and get into the points. So number one, when it comes to your decision to make money, you are in charge. So it's really not an employer. It's not really your mom, dad, sister, brother, auntie, uncle. It's not really anything. It's you. How much do you want to have, and how much do you think is possible? I was inspired to make this video because I am now on my fourth payment, actually fifth. Wow. I've been given 5 different payments in one singular day. Actually, whoa, 6 different payments in the same day. And the reason why is because I decided a while ago that what I wanted for myself was that I was going to 1,000% make money every single day, or at least have a way to make money every single day. When you're in the idea of a 9-to-5 job, you're never ever going to think outside of that if you don't want to. And the reason why is because you don't have to. You absolutely don't have to. You're making a steady income, you're making a paycheck. You don't need to really do anything. And so I want you to understand that if you're going to live this life and want to make more money, you don't just have to change your job. You don't just have to go and start a LLC. You don't have to go and do anything specific. You can choose how much money that you make. And after having 6 payments come in today, with the probability or ability for 10s more to come in today, I'm finally starting to live out the manifestation I made a very long time ago. And what I wanted was to decouple my money from my time. That's point number 2. Decouple your money from your time. When your time is coupled to your money, you're conditioning yourself every single day that I have to exchange my time, my seconds, my minutes for money. Every single day. That's what you're deciding to do. Every single day. So when you finally decide, hey, I'm actually going to detach my time from money. You may not know how. I certainly didn't know how. But when you start to flirt with the idea of your life changing, then it can. Facts. And so what I want you to realize is when it comes to money, take out a sheet of paper for anyone watching at the beginning of 2026 or is going to keep watching. Hi to everyone that's joining. Make sure to like the live as you're in here. If you take out a sheet of paper for those who are watching or are going to watch later, really genuinely think about how many sources of income do you have? Thank you for the likes for y'all that are in here. Happy birthday. How many sources of income do you have? Literally. Because mine, I lose count of how many I have. And that is why I can get 6 payments a day, like in a day, on a random Monday, first Monday of the year, right? Yeah, without trying, without forcing it. And I got money over the weekend from different businesses. So, what is your decision this year? Do you want to make more money? Because, I'll tell a quick story. I have a friend, and she would often talk to me about money, and she doesn't have money, and she doesn't have finances, and, struggling with money. So I told her, take out a sheet of paper and write down your IPAs. You ask, what is an IPA? An IPA is an income producing activity. Write down, what are your IPAs? List them all. And then on the back side of the sheet of paper, write the ones that you used today. For the majority of people that would do that, they're going to write my income producing activities are my job, and then they stop. That is why you don't have money. It's not because your job isn't paying you enough. It's because you're reliant on the frequency of that job. The job has literally given you a frequency when you signed up or when you got your offer letter. Every 2 weeks, you get your paycheck. They established your frequency. Your frequency is how often something happens. They gave it to you on paper before you started. You get paid every 2 weeks. So you signed up for a frequency of money to only come in twice a month. That's twice a month. You did that. So if you want to get out of that, do you have to change your job? Not really, because a job is going to give you the same frequency 2 times a month. Some people get paid once a month. So you signed up for a job, literally signed up for a job, and you said, yes, I want to get paid 1 time a month. Hi. You signed up for that. You literally agreed to that on the day of your first day of work. You said, I'm not backing out of it. I saw my offer letter. I fully agree. And then you got up in the morning for work, and then you went. The work is not the problem. The job is not the problem. It's the fact that you have a job, and so you have a programming to only get paid twice a month, once a month. When I broke that out of my life, I was like, oh my gosh. Like, there are so many ways to make money on a daily basis. There's even ways where you can make money every single day. There's money where there's businesses and times where you can make money 4 times a day, 5 times a day. And I started to think, my time is no longer coupled to my money, and my money is no longer coupled to my time. For anyone who's listening to this video, I really want you to do that exercise. Write it on a sheet of paper. On the front, write down, what are my IPAs, my income producing activities? And if you can only write 1 or 2 or 3, that's the problem. See, myself, I decided I was going to do something different. And I said, I'm going to do how many ever I want. So if I go to a job, my job says 2 paychecks a month, which is insane, by the way, because a business gets paid every single day. So if you're working for a business, you're getting paid only twice a month when they're getting paid 30 days out of the month. That's a first red flag. And so you have to be intolerant of that. You have to change your tolerance. I believe that is Reagan Hillier. I think it's Hillier. Reagan Hillier, who speaks at Mindvalley. She talks about that. That's where I got that from. I had a different way, like a humanistic way, right? And what people will say in that human way is like, you need to raise your standards, is what people say. And then I started to hear from another person Brandon Carter, who would say, you don't rise to your standards, you fall to your, or you don't rise to your potential, you fall to your standard, or something of the sort. Basically meaning raise your floor so that you can live a better life overall. Like, it doesn't matter what you do, right? If you're never reaching the stars, you're always falling to your floor, just raise the floor and you'll always be fine, right? If you leave your floor in the same place, then you're out of luck. But if you raise the floor, it doesn't matter how high you want to go, as long as this is where you want to be, everything else is cherry on top, is what he's saying. But what Reagan said, now this is the third iteration of how I've been hearing this in my life, is tolerating. And it's like, I will not tolerate this anymore. And you have to get to that point of, I'm not tolerating getting paid once a month. I'm not tolerating getting paid twice a month. Do you know the sense of freedom you have when you go from making money twice a month to having a source of income in which you can get paid multiple times a month, and then you actually do receive that money? I mean, this was me a few years ago, and I was like, there's no way I'm ever going back. This is amazing. Are you telling me that I can wake up and make money outside of a job? What type of alien world is this? Someone in the comments said, do you know everyone lives on Earth? I didn't even know at this point. I'm like, this is crazy. But then I started to think, a different program. I started to tell myself, how is that crazy? Businesses make money every single day of the month. Like, they don't wait around to receive your money. As soon as you buy something, the company receives their money. You have to get that transfer done. But then I was listening to Myron Golden, and he would talk about something on the same lane of that, and he would say, I forgot, but it's so important to do that point. So that was point number 2. The next thing is that it doesn't matter the amount, because if you can make $1, you can make 1,000. If you find a way to make $1 outside of work, you can make 1,000. You just have to do that thing 1,000 times. But the math gets even better if you charge more or you get more money. So let's say find a way to get $10 on a Friday, right? Maybe instead of just doing it on Friday, you do it on Friday and Wednesday. Now you have more money. Okay, instead of Friday and Wednesday, you do it every day of the week. Boom, now you have more money. Did you change the thing? Nope, you just changed the frequency. Everything in life comes from the frequency of who you are, including our money. So if we can change our frequency of how we deal with and interact with money, then money starts to become a flow of who we are. Now your only thing you have to do now is, okay, instead of $1, I want 10. But now you do that 10 every day of the week. See how it starts to stack on each other. So it's not just about part-time job. Gotta find another way to get paid by an employer. Remote job. You can find way. If this is a really harsh truth that I'm still swallowing at the moment, if you can't find a way to make an extra $100 a month, what makes you think that you're secure in life? If you, as an adult, cannot find a way to make $100 extra a month, if you cannot find a way to make an extra $100 a month, you're not secure at all. I made a video a while back, and the point I'm making is it talks about, you have to understand that your frustration with money is not coming from the amount of money that you make. It is coming from the blockage of creativity and the fact of what that has to do with the frequency of money. Because if you are making money, if you're making $10 in your business, right? You're making $10 in your business. What if you make a $10 sale and you're like, oh, it's just $10. But then you start getting 100 clients a day. And then you start getting 1,000 clients a day. Is it now still $10? It's not. It has now exponentially grown simply because of the frequency. You didn't change the amount. So what you have to do is you have to stop coupling your time to money in the first place by having something that is digital, having something that doesn't need you to be there. Maybe you need to be there for fulfillment afterwards. Then maybe something that just lives without you, where time does the work. And you have to consciously choose this, though. You have to consciously want that to be your decision. Because if you are conditioned by normal working standards that you are going to work and get paid twice a month, you're never going to go look for something else. If you think that is how life goes and there's no other option and nobody really explores other options, you will never explore another option. I have 177 subscribers on my channel right now. And I know that this video is going to sit on YouTube for probably 20 years. And there's going to be thousands of people that watch this video over time. And they start to feel like, oh my gosh, like she said that I get to choose how many times I get paid a month. And that is the thing that changes you. It doesn't have to be anything spectacular or crazy, because I feel like we get wrapped up in the strategies. And my thing is, why are you wrapped up in trying to learn a strategy when you need more than 1 or 2 ways to make money anyways? What about wrapping yourself up in the person who can master any strategy by being disciplined, by doing what you say you're going to do, by telling yourself you're going to do something and sticking to it? That is who you should be trying to be, not trying to figure out all the different strategies. Because I'm telling you, once you become that type of person who can really do whatever you tell yourself to do, now you can master whatever strategies in a shorter amount of time than anybody else on earth. It's actually the thing that makes you win is the person that you are. All right? If you think about it, when there's statistics that are brought up, like 80% of people who do blah, blah, blah fail. Did people fail or did they stop trying? Because the difference between you closing your business and this person having their business is not the absence of struggle. Both of y'all struggled. One of y'all just decided to push through it further. That's because of who they are. It was never about the business. It was about who they are. So if you can become a person that literally is going to be meant to fulfill the expectations of whatever strategy they have, the strategy doesn't matter. Now, obviously, it matters when it comes to like your personality type, you know, who you are as a person and the things that you value. For me, I don't value a lot of things that the majority of normal people value. I just don't. And so I had to become a person that was like, you know what? I actually don't value this, so I'm not going to do it. And then as I got older and older, as I'm still getting older and older, those things keep changing. Like the list of things I value just keep getting smaller. I'm like, this is cool, but I don't really care about it anymore. It just keeps getting smaller and smaller, right? But what I wanted to really hit on is that anything in life is not going to come about if you don't allow it. You know, there was a time in my business where I wanted clients and I wanted money and I wanted people to pay me for my coaching. Now that's been fully manifested, right? But I didn't have a coaching link. I didn't have a place where people could sign up. I didn't have a place people could pay me if they wanted to. I didn't talk about my business on social media and I didn't ask people to sign up. I hid it from everybody. And then I wanted clients. Does that make sense? It does not. And so I had to learn from that was a very expensive lesson with one of my mentors that cost me about $3,000 at the time. Adjusted for inflation, probably like $3,500 now. But what the important part is that you have to do work. The work doesn't have to feel like work, it just has to be work. So for me, my YouTube channel does not feel like work because I've been making YouTube videos for almost a decade. It's like the back of my hand. I love YouTube. I love making videos. I love content. This is my jam. But just because that is my jam doesn't necessarily mean that I can't do something else. So, although this is my jam, there's plenty of other things that I do. And I don't even know if that was the point I was trying to make with that. But what I'm really saying is that you get to choose. And I want you to start choosing. And even if it starts with small amounts, I think my first time I got paid outside of work, outside of having a job, outside of this 9 to 5, whatever thing that we have on this earth, was 31 cents. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can make money outside of work, outside of having a job. And the thing is, the more things outside of work, I mean, this is something I would say for anyone that wants to quit their 9 to 5 job. First, why would you want to quit your 9 to 5 job? Because the 9 to 5 job is not the problem, but if you do, go ahead. I did. I certainly did at the age of 23. But the one thing I would say is what you're doing can expand if you let it expand. So if you are channeling something, bringing an idea to life, and you want that idea to literally come from or produce something you want it to produce, it can. But only if you let it. You have to have something there that can grow. You have to do something and put something in place to be grown. If I say, I want 1 million YouTube subscribers, but I don't have a YouTube channel, where are the subscribers gonna go? Where are they gonna go? I want 1 million YouTube subscribers, but I don't post any videos. How will people find my channel? They're not gonna just find a blank channel and subscribe to it for no reason. They would like to have videos to watch. Okay? I want to have 1 million subscribers, but I don't want to show my face, and I want to make a whole bunch of random videos and not actually put anything into one niche or try to make something interesting for someone else to watch to help them. Well, even with those 3 things, it doesn't make sense why you would want 1 million subscribers if you don't even do the things that it takes to at least exist to receive that, right? We haven't even talked about making good content, making scripted content, learning how to do thumbnails, thumbnail titles, how to write a proper description, what niches pay the most. We haven't talked about what things you're proficient in and what things you should be posting. We haven't talked about editing, filming, lighting. We haven't talked about anything. All we've talked about is having a YouTube channel, posting videos, and just letting people know you exist, right? And so when you're thinking about this, it's like I really want you to reflect on your own life and say, how am I not doing these things that I think that I want? Because you'll realize that you don't want them. You'll say, I want more money. But you look at your IPA list. If you don't remember what that is, go back to the beginning. You go to your IPA list and your income producing activities are driving DoorDash once a month when you feel like it and having a full-time job. Well, there's literally nothing on that list that money can flow to, right? Because you've signed up for a job that pays you a certain amount at a certain frequency. We've already established that. And then you feel like you want to drive DoorDash once a month, and that's what you sign up for. Like, there's nothing that money can really flow to here. Unless you wanted to do DoorDash, like, part-time and actually put your energy into it, money can flow there. Maybe you want to get a different job that pays more. More money can flow there. Like, money can't flow to something that literally doesn't allow it to be caught, because money is energy. So you think about money floating around all the time, and the person that makes the most money is the person that has a place for money to be. It's said that if 100% of the world's wealth was spread across the entire world, the top 3% would still have it back in their pocket. The other 97%'s money would go back to where it is right now in 10 years or less. There's an entire book written about it. Why? Because the people that make the most money or are great with money, about making money, about managing money, about keeping money, always have the best money management routines, rituals, which only really come from having a place where money can be. So you have to have something that where money can be. And Robert Kiyosaki talks about this a lot. Assets. Assets are where money can be. Maybe you build an asset and that's where money can come too. Maybe you keep the asset and now that's where your money is stored. A lot of this is simply your decision to want more money more often. Do you want more money more often? If the answer is yes, then the answer is yes. Now we're not talking about what can we do, what can't we do. We're talking about when and where are we going to do it. So your first step is looking that up, finding that out. And it's so interesting to me how we can live with the idea and want the thought of something, but as soon as we need to do something for it, it's like, actually, I don't want that thing at all. I'm telling you that you might have to go in on your DoorDash and do that every weekend, maybe. Instead of doing it every like once a month, you do it every weekend. So now instead of one time, you do it 4 times. And you're saying, oh, well, I don't really want to. Okay, well, the thing that money is currently flowing to you in is that. So why wouldn't you just increase that? Or move or go to a different area, drive farther out and make more money on each trip. Increase your money that way. And still do your one trip, but at least increase it that way. The fourth tip I wanted to say is that I think I forgot it. You need to make money in the way that aligns with you, but it needs to be aligned. You need to make money in the way that aligns with you, but it needs to align with the world. If you want to make money from the way that only you want to make money, you want to put out some, like, sorry to say, just some BS something that nobody actually wants, then you can't complain when you don't have more money, because you have to do something that money wants to flow to. All money wants to flow to something. Money is constantly flowing around. It wants to flow and be captured into something that cares about it, something that makes it grow, something that makes it more healthy, something that makes it into a seed that gives it a purpose. Money wants to do that. So if you can be the person that increases the amount of ways that can happen for you, then that's how you do it. You don't pick the strategy first. You do all of these things first, and that strategy will naturally come to you as you're still becoming that person. Eating well, drinking proper amounts of water, nourishing your human body so that your brain isn't on overload all the time, working out, getting sleep, all those things. So important. So important. Something I'm experimenting with right now is meditation / hypnotization, because I think it is so interesting in how close it is to prayer. It's basically the same thing, but I really want to experiment more with that and understand more of my understanding in that. But if you want something in life and you want something in 2026, it's not going to come unless you allow it to. Like, the things do not just pass you by because they just pass you by. And the thing is, opportunities are passing by every single day. What I mean is that something's not going to pass you by and you see it. Things are not just going to pass by and fall into your lap at all. Things are going to pass by and you're not even going to notice them because you're not prepared for them. So you don't even know what to look for. If I'm now giving you this information and just one person across everyone in the world sees this video, and you're like, oh my gosh, I can do this now. You're going to start to notice your email, your phone calls, your texts, how you live your life, maybe your work life, kids, husband, wife, whatever. All that life you currently have is now going to be through the lens of what I just programmed you with. You want to make money in more ways. You want to change the frequency at which you get paid. You want to get paid either more at the same rate or get paid more at a higher rate or get paid more frequently at the same rate. Now everything you see is going to be through that lens. Everything. Like, it's almost like I just gave you a pair of glasses and said, now you see the world through this next thing you want. And then once you get that down, being able to perceive those opportunities, then the thing changes and you go do something else with your life. But you really got to make that decision and decide first. Decide that you want that to be the case. And it most certainly will be in 2026.